Hey everybody, it's Steve Owens, Tournament Director for Georgia Bass Nation Kayak Series. This is your captain's meeting for the first event of the 2023 season. We're in Bainbridge, Georgia on Lake Seminole. This is the site of our state championship from 2022 in which Joshua Deal took home the award for that. And last season's Angler of the Year was Joseph Gayton. Appreciate everything you all did last year. We had a very successful season. The numbers from last year, with it being our first year as a trail series, were very, very good. It went a long way this year to bringing in the sponsors that we did. I'll do a YouTube video later on highlighting everything that we have in store for the season. Still have a few pretty big sponsors hopefully joining, even though the season's already started, but I want to make sure I get all that in line so we can get our graphics and stuff done. Bringing in Sniper Marine, makers of live scope, Panoptics, active target, 360, any kind of forward-facing sonar that you can think of. They make a really good tiller handle, twist, adjustable mount for those. We have those at Dugout Bait and Tackle, one of our title sponsors as well. Sniper Marine's our big bass sponsor for this year. Went a long way in being able to make sure that we get the trophies and things that we need for the season. And those are made by Kayak Outdoor Products. I think you're really going to like those this year. Last year's were pretty good. These are way better. So want to mention that, in conjunction with each of these tournaments that we run this year, we want to try to have as much grassroots participation as we can. Throughout the season, the top 15 from each event qualify for our Georgia Bass Nation State Championship. And from that also, we add to the field with the grassroots Angler of the Year standings. So if you're unable to travel, fish some of these events for whatever reason, the grassroots is a really good option for you to be able to compete, hone your skills, learn how to fish tournaments, make the mistakes that you're going to make, because we all do while you're doing that in your grassroots arena. Not that it's any less important, but it's a little less expensive typically, and a lot of times it's not going to cost you a state championship spot that can get you to the Bassmaster Kayak Series Championship. So be sure to reach out to all those clubs. In particular, this week's event is the Peach State Kayak Anglers, one of the better clubs in the state of Georgia. And literally every club we have in the state of Georgia are very good, well-ran grassroots clubs. Proud to have them to be a part of everything that we do. We couldn't have the numbers that we have if it weren't for all you guys. I believe we averaged about 60 anglers per tournament. Really surprised me because I was new to getting to know all you Georgia folks, and you guys showed up and showed out. I think we're pushing close to 70 right now at registration. I apologize, it's a little late. It took me a long time to get down here today. But we're ready to fish. We're going to have a lot of rain, a lot of wind, so be safe. Above all else, if you have something that you got a question about, reach out to myself or Daniel Davis. Daniel will be judging this tournament. But if you have any question concerning safety, get to the bank and ask it. If just pay attention to your own gut when it comes to that. So, register for the Peach State Kayak Anglers event. Can't remember the entry fee I've already entered. I think it's around $40, but there is a waiver that you have to fill out for that club series. So be sure to do that and get it back to Jason Alford or Nick Dyer. But getting down to this event here, this is a 5-fish tournament, and each fish has to be a 12-inch minimum length. If your 12-inch fish gets deducted for a cracked mouth or anything, then that fish will be non-scoreable and be removed from your stringer. Your hand can be anywhere on that fish. We've got a new graphic, so as long as the eyeball going forward to the bump board where the mouth is uncovered, you can place your hand anywhere from there all the way down to the very tip of the tail. We have to see the tip of the tail, so you can pinch it and get it in the numbers, so that you get the maximum length out of that fish. But if we can't see the tip of that tail, that fish will be not scoreable. You'll be able to submit another picture if you have one better, but that's the way that'll go. Newbies, if you have a fish that's got a blunted eye or an infected eye, or sometimes eyes get cut out in fish, sadly, if it looks like a dead eye, put that fish on the board, get your measurement out of it, and then stop and record you holding that fish, placing it back in the water, and letting it swim away. And you'll need to keep that video. And if you can't upload it to me immediately, you need to bring it to the check-in or call me, text me immediately and say, hey, I've got a dead-eye fish. I've got a video for it. We'll score that fish for you. It's up to you to provide proof that that fish is what it needs to be, alive. And then once we do that, your fish will stand. If you can't produce that, then we'll disqualify your fish. No harm, no foul. You just didn't do that part of your job. And that's okay. People make mistakes. So above all else, check your pictures. You know, it's going to be raining, so make certain that you have something to clean your camera lens. Before you let your fish go, I suggest a donkey leash. They're one of our title sponsors this year. And, you know, put your fish back in the water, check all your picture qualities, or place it in the net as a live well, so to speak. Put it back in the water before you let that fish go. I suggest using the Tourney X camera in the app. I've been using it recently, and it works really well. Android users, the flutter shutter button works great. The voice command works in it as well. So if you use that, it's just a smoother process of getting your fish uploaded. Please use the check-in and check-out option. You're not going to be disqualified if you don't, but that's something that's happening in the National Series. So here's what we try to do is to train you to be able to fish the Hobies, the Bassmasters, the KBFs, All-Americans, anything else that's considered a professional trail series. We want you to understand those rules as well. But we're not going to disqualify you for it, but it also helps us for safety reasons. We know you made it to your launch, you got out and fished, and then you were safely off water. A lot of people don't come to check-ins and they don't notify us that they're safely off the water and everything, so we'd like for you to do that. Moving on from the 5 fish, 12-inch minimum, your identifier card will be released tomorrow around 7 p.m. Check your Tourney X app for that. The identifier code for us and Peach State kayak anglers is going to be the same. It'll be identical. It can be written on your hand, which I don't suggest because it's raining. As it gets into summertime, your sun gloves are going to cover it and you're going to forget about it. Sunscreen will rub it off of your hand. So put it on an identifier card, put it in a Tourney tag, a Ziploc bag, something somewhere that you can do. Blue Fox makes a really nice tin metal tag that's reusable. You can do that. Myself, if I'm using a Catch carbonate board, which by the way, we're a Catch board only trail series, no hog troughs, no golden rule, no Freybill measuring board. It has to be a Catch product. It can be the carbonate plastic one, it can be the new Catch X aluminum, or it can be the old school metal and plastic one. For me, the Catch X boards are the best. Hands down, blue is the best color. I beg of you, I'll give you $1 towards your purchase if you buy a blue board. Blue is the best. The metal boards are what are allowed in the Hobie Bass Open Series only. So if you're thinking about moving into those, make sure that when you buy one, you get the Catch X board. The Catch Carbonate, one of my favorite to use on that one. And the Catch X, I literally write my identifier on the board itself. In case I lose my identifier, I've got a backup there. So I write it down about 5 or 6 times down the spine. That way, you know, because when you're catching a 23-inch fish, that body's going to cover, you know, most of that board, but wherever the tail is on that spine, where the numbers and the lines are, you'll be able to put your identifier code in there and it'll be seen. But that's your responsibility to have that identifier code legible in all of your pictures. And above all else, you know, when it comes to your safety, you know, if you have a motorized kayak, it's got to be registered. Numbers sometimes don't come in as quickly as we like them, but you need to have your registration either in your phone or in a Ziploc bag in case, especially if the game warden comes around. We don't check it, but if we ever needed to, you need to have that to prove that you're legal. Fishing licenses, it's up to you to make sure that you have fishing license. This particular lake here is Alabama, Georgia, and Florida license, I believe. You don't have to have all of those. If you're not fishing the Florida waters, then you don't need that. If you're only fishing Georgia, that's the only one that you need. May have misspoken on the Alabama part, but I'm pretty sure there was a little bit of water that touches Alabama. But the itinerary for this is your virtual captain's meeting. So on Saturday, let me go over to Friday. So Friday, around 6 p.m. is the official practice. The identifier will be released at that time as well. Moving on to Saturday, February the 11th, tournament day, you can launch at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You're allowed to put your kayak in the water, load it, get in the water, get out of the way, stay in very close proximity of the boat ramp or the shoreline, but you can get out of the way so that you're not impeding the ramp for people using it. You're not in the way of boats trying to leave and everything, because it's not easy to steer those things when they're idling. So get in your kayak and move out of the way. You can sit in the water pretty close, just don't be pedaling around and scanning. But above all else, please, for the love of all that's good, Do not park on the ramp and load your kayak and set it in the water. When you get to the ramp, and I'm speaking to you new people, and I'm not chastising you, but this is something that we deal with all the time, and it's a common sense measure that we have to make sure that we instill in people who are unfamiliar with what we do. When you come to a boat ramp, pull into a parking spot. Get out with your flashlight, put all of your tackle, your motor, everything else, your net, your lights, your navigation lights, which you have to have if you're launching before safe light. Rig your kayak in your parking spot. Secure your kayak to your trailer. Don't take your straps all the way off or it's going to fall and hit the ground. Back down to the ramp, get out, unstrap it, tie something around the front, push it off into the water, drag it around out of the way, beach it where it's secure and safe, then hop in your truck and drive back up and park. People understand that it takes a few minutes to do that, and that's quite all right. But make sure that you're not blocking the ramp when you're rigging your kayak for in the morning. So once you launch at 7 a.m., you have 30 minutes to get to your spot. Lines in, first cast is at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't flip your line in the water to straighten your line or to check a lure or anything like that. You cannot put a bait in the water until 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can fish for 8 hours until 3:30 p.m. If you land a fish at 3:30, you have the 59 seconds of 3:30 to get that fish picture taken. So once you do that, get everything secured, you have half an hour to get your fish uploaded to TourneyX. Now on this lake, you don't always have great cell signal, so that means that it's up to you. You can't call me at 3:35 and say I can't get my fish uploaded. If you see throughout your day that you can't get your fish uploaded, then you're just going to simply lose fishing time. It happens to all of us across the country, no matter where we're at on some lakes. It's just the nature of it. It's the same as if you caught a fish that you couldn't prove was alive, or if you caught a fish with a broken jaw that had a mouth open that you couldn't get closed. You just have to be thankful that you caught a fish, but that fish is going to get deducted because it has an open mouth. So the same is said for uploading your fish. If you're having issues throughout your day, contact myself or the judge. Phone numbers are readily available, and we will do our best to talk you through how to get your fish uploaded. In the end, if you can't get your fish uploaded by the time lines is out, then you need to leave and find signal and get your fish uploaded. That's not something we can control, and we've moved past the point of manual submissions just because someone doesn't feel like doing it that day. And we're all new, we're all not new to this, so that's the way it's the way it's got to be done for efficiency of the tournament. So once you get your fish uploaded at 4 p.m., we're going to shoot for 5:30. Check in at Big Jim's. We don't have a hard check-in time, but we can't, wait around forever for people to come. I'll do my best. We pay 10% of the field. I'll do my best to text the top 10% and let them know that they're in the money, because we'd really like for you to come and accept your awards and prizes. We do a lot of great raffles. But the biggest thing is this is the time, since we do a virtual captain's meeting, where we all can meet and come together and hang out, get to know one another, and just, learn from each other and just, to build relationships. And that's the good thing about this series, is that we do all know each other, even travel anglers coming through, stop and fish our stuff. So really grateful for that. And again, the check-in location for Saturdays at Big Jim's. Shooting for 5 o'clock, 5:30-ish, but please try to be there as quickly as possible. So the launches for this, I'm not going to go through them all. They're on TourneyX. If you're using the TourneyX app, I'm going to try to show you this as best I can. When you're on the TourneyX app, let's see. So there's where we are on TourneyX. So when you look up the tournament, tourney registration, I'm going to go in and type in Seminole. All right, and so now you're on that screen there. There's tourney info, the red tab. There we go. So I'm going to select that. And then once we get there, you're going to see all of your tournament info. Then you're going to come to the word description right there. All right, you see that? That's a shadow box inside of that app. So you're no longer touching the main screen. You're in that shadow box. This is true for every tournament on TourneyX. Scroll through that shadow box, and there's all the information that you'll need to know. This is the same as if you were looking at TourneyX on Google Chrome or your Safari app or whatever it is your internet browser is. So as you're scrolling through there, you're going to read all that information that bores you, but you very, very likely need to know. Then you're going to get to your Google snapshots with the last launches that you can launch at on these bodies of water. So from those launches, you're allowed to fish up from those, but you cannot leave your kayak for any reason. You can leave your kayak if you need to get to the bank. You're allowed to beach your kayak to take a photograph of your fish instead of floating dangerously down the water not looking. You can beach your kayak to get out and stretch your legs. If you want to get out and eat lunch, take a snack, or if you got to go to the bathroom, just get out and do what you got to do there. So we'll do a video going over all the rules pretty soon as well. Just got done with all the Bassmaster, and myself and Hobie and KBF worked together to try to streamline those as best we can. Not all of those are going to apply to the Bass Nation series stuff. I just feel like, where we're at, we need to make it as professional a series as we can. But at the same time, I feel like there's a few things that we need to keep kind of grassroots-ish, a little bit of a camaraderie. It helps us keep a little bit of that. Even though we're very competitive, we still want to have that brotherhood element to where, we're going to be out and have fun. When you're on the water, obviously we're not sharing, what we're catching them on, how we're catching them. You can talk generalizations of fishing that day. If you're fishing, with a carpool person you're riding with, go over to them and say, hey man, I'm leaving. I'm going, 2 miles up here or whatever. You got to communicate with the people that you're navigating with. And when you're around one another on the body of water, communicate, hey, I'm fishing this stretch here. Would you mind leaving it alone? I'm letting it reset for about 10 minutes and then I'm going to go back through it, Be respectful of people's fishing area. I'm bringing a lot up, but it's the first meeting, of the season, and it's stuff that we really have to pay attention to. It's not just new people, it's seasoned people as well. You come up, you're like, hey man, how's it going? Oh, it's been pretty good. I've been doing okay, yada yada. You're going to talk a little bit. Man, I've caught a few. I've caught 6 or 7. And this, that, and the other. Caught a couple big ones. And then immediately you start fishing very close to that person you came up talking to. Don't do that. That's rude. It's unacceptable. It's something that you may not even realize you're doing, but it's not appreciated. Trust me, I hear about it way too much. But we're on the water, none of us like confrontation, so typically we don't say, hey man, get out of here, but we shouldn't have to. So when you come up on a person, there's no rule about a distance or anything, but if you see that person is fishing down a bank, don't try to race them to a spot. Man, you just got there too late. That's that person's area to an extent. But now speaking to the person that is fishing, you don't own that entire area. So that person can communicate with you, hey man, I'd like to go down here and fish this lay down. It's about 80 yards down, this, that, and the other. I'm familiar with the lake. And that person is expected to be honest with you, man. You know what, dude, I'm going to be fishing here for another hour. I can't expect you to not do that. And so just be cool with each other, man, and be respectful. So, but that wraps up about everything we got going on here. We've got more events this year than we have in the past. Really excited about that. Bear with me for just a second. I want to get these pulled up because, I was learning this area last year when we did this schedule, and I'm still learning it now. I was pretty happy with last year's attendance. The fishing, obviously, you never predict that, but you all made the series really, really good last year, and I'm greatly, greatly, greatly appreciative of that. It's a very easy series to run. We had no issues. We didn't have launch discrepancies, penalties, just mouth deductions and stuff, and so we're going to do a seminar with I'm not going to call him out. I was going to mess with my buddy, but I'm not going to. But anyway, see, I'm very happy with this schedule this year, especially. So obviously this event's February the 11th. April 15th, we're fishing Lake Hartwell. We're going to fish that again this year, a recruiting style event with the South Carolina Bass Nation like we did. The Queen City Club is also fishing that weekend along with the Bassmaster Kayak Series. So it's actually 3 tournaments: the Georgia Bass Nation, South Carolina Bass Nation recruiting event, and then the Queen City Kayak event. Those are Saturday only, and the Bassmaster event is Saturday and Sunday. So when we do these partner series trails like Peach State this weekend, we adhere to I don't know how to say it, but the 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 upper level rules. If I don't mean that in a derogatory term by any means, but I mean it's whatever set of rules that we're saying are the greater set of rules or something. I don't know what to say about that. That's just not a. I'm not trying to be insulting or act like anything's better than anything else, but it's just how we operate. If we're doing an event in conjunction with Bassmaster or Hobie, we'll adopt those two series rules, and we'll make sure that that's published so that you can read them. So, April 15th is Lake Hartwell. We invite you to fish the Bassmaster series as well. It's the 15th and 16th. Those are $250. You being a Georgia Bass Nation member, you have already registered for the Bassmaster dues as well. So with that registration, you're allowed to fish all the Opens events as well. So you don't have to do it again. May 6th for Georgia Bass Nation, we're on Lanier. Pretty excited about that one. June the 24th, we're doing something new. I know all of you Georgia people are river rats by and large. So we're fishing the Three Rivers series tournament out of Milledgeville. And September 16th, we're fishing Sinclair to close out the season. And then the state championship, the date will be announced later on Lake Seminole. I'm open, all of you, please, as you're listening, text me a date that you think we need to fish in Seminole. I thought November fished really, really well. It's a good breaking period. We're going to have a couple months for everyone to catch up on honeydew list at home and earn some more brownie points, and then come down for several days, because your vacation time is probably spent. But maybe you can work something out, to where you can take a few extra sick days or something like that, and come down and pre-fish for a couple days, and then fish the championship. So, but it more than likely needs to be in November again. But I think we have some wiggle room with the chamber down here. So, again, the top 15 per event, and then the angler of the year standings for the grassroots people are what qualify for this here. So, angler of the year title sponsor is still in the works, and as quick as that gets done, I'll announce that. So again, I've been making posts about our sponsors that we're bringing in this year. I know we got Dugout Bait and Tackleback. It's a huge supporter of the kayak community. We got a lot of good shops in our area, and they stand out as an equal to all the others as well. They do a really good job supporting all that we do. We got Orion Coolers. We got Sniper Marine. We've got Yamamoto, Bill Lewis, Buckeye Lures. We got One Objective with Tungsten, Kayak Cushions giving physical gift cards, $20, $40 I think for this one. It's two $20 gift cards. They're a very big supporter of the kayak community as well. Catch Products is making our trophies for us. They made that to where I can afford to do that this year. I know I'm forgetting some more, but Attorney X is back on board supporting us. Dwayne does a lot of stuff for us behind the scenes that cost him dollars in software fixes or upgrades, and we're very appreciative of that. It's really responsive and handles those real quick. So, but again, we'll continue to highlight those sponsors and get all of that out there. So Seagar is a ridiculously large sponsor to the kayak community and fishing world, period. So touching on a little bit of other things, come to the Bassmaster Classic Expo in Knoxville. The Dugout Bait and Tackle is going to have a booth there. We also have the NOE Outdoor Expo coming up. I guess it's next weekend. I think so. Yeah, because the Hobie Harris chain, that registration still has some people in it. Some spots open and available if you want to fish it. No membership fee for the Hobie Bass Open Series. It's $295 entry fee. Really good payback, really good competition. The Harris chain. So if you've got time, pre-fishing starts tomorrow, Saturday for that, I think. So we've got one other thing. Sorry. Florida Bass Nation West has an event this Sunday. They actually moved it for us so that we wouldn't conflict. Something I didn't even think to look at their schedule when I booked this Seminole tournament, but they thankfully they moved for us. They're coming up to fish Seminole again. They fished it a few weeks ago, I think, but they fished Lake Talquin in Florida on Sunday. So several of us are going to hang out and go down there and fish that on Sunday. Supposed to be some dinosaurs that live in that lake, so it'll be interesting to see. Again, reach out to myself or Daniel Davis if you've got any questions. If I've missed anything. Your entry fee is $75. $10 of that goes to the Big Bags pot. Thankfully, right now, for the first several events of the year, we're able to continue to do 100% payback. Going to continue to work on that funding so that maybe we can get that done the entire series again this year. We had a lot of money paid out last year, and we couldn't do that. Automation Customs is coming on board this year as well. Going to have some really good prizes for the 2 events in the Sinclair area, Milledgeville, and the state championship as well. So check those guys out in Warner Robins, Georgia. They do some superior customizations on vehicles. So thank all of you guys, and be safe. And above all else, again, contact me if you got any questions. Thank you.